The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The calling.
And good evening, everybody. It's a Wednesday, and boy, is it ever a Wednesday. You know, middle of the week, stuff's happening. Ick. So, hey, Kim, how you doing?
Hey, Jerry, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. Just kind of, hanging out. What you doing?
Nothing really, just
Nothing?
hanging out too, waiting for the rain. You know the rain's coming again, right?
Oh, it's coming to you. I don't think we're supposed to get that much.
Oh, good. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
It's pretty cloudy over here, so yeah.
Well, we need it.
Right.
Still, so that's just the way that is. So, wow, what a week it's been, huh?
I know.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, we're not going to go into it. But
No.
I'm just saying it's just yuck.
Yep.
It's funny is when all of a sudden I wake up and my sage is all around me with matches going, burn me, darn it, burn me. It's like, it just doesn't seem to help. But it will in time, I guess.
Well, you guys are up. You're closer. I mean, you're closer to the cities and stuff, so you're probably getting a lot more of the vibration than probably I would. Because then there's days where I forget, and then all of a sudden it comes back. You know what I mean? And then you can't really watch Facebook. You can't really watch the news because that's all it's showing at this
Exactly.
point. So,
Exactly.
not to say. And so we just got to encourage people to just, love one another and be out there and do positive things. Do things with your family and just, that's it, There's nothing else to be done,
Yeah,
So-
that's true. Well, anyway, so tonight's show is now everybody by our the advertisement we put out and stuff like that are going to think it's about Bigfoot. It's not. It's actually, I started thinking more and more about the structures out there. So over the weekend, I got a hold of a guy that makes traps, and he's kind of a survivalist. And I showed him pictures of what's out there in the woods, and he said that he has seen it too.
Okay.
And I said, so what's your thoughts on it? I said, could it be traps? He said, some things could be. He said, especially coyote. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put some examples up here.
Yeah, do that.
I'm going to actually go to your guys' website, Squatchers, and let's see here now.
The one I really am intrigued of is the one with the X. It looks X.
Hold on. You're
That's a
getting
cool
too far
one.
ahead. Too far ahead. Hold on. That's where we're going. And now I've got a computer problem. Oh my goodness. This is, I think you just turned off the Wi-Fi on my phone and maybe it'll go faster. But anyway, so like a log on the ground and then it's up above 5 feet. Then you see little sticks put around to the sides of it and stuff like that. Thank you, Steph, for doing that. So when you're doing that, a lot of times with coyote and with fox, if there's any kind of like, like thunder, lightning, stuff like that and everything else, they get a little skittish, they run into there. A lot of times people will put traps in there, be it snares or put in, the the regular metal traps, and then they get their leg caught inside there and stuff. And I see, to me, it's not hunting. To me, that's just murder. Plain and simple. So I don't know. Everybody's going to disagree with me on a lot of stuff, and that's fine. Because again, this is my opinion, and you have what? You have your opinion on it. But anyway, I'm not saying that, we're going to be fighting here. But if we are, I'm just going to grab my toys and go home. No, I'm kidding. But when you see that, so, he told me that, especially if you're out there, some people may think it's like, hunting blind, so then they crawl into it.
Yeah.
He said, worst thing you could do is do that. Always take a stick and hit around inside there to get the trap to go off, because it is horrible. It leaves a heck of a bite, especially on your knee. It actually could take out your knee really good. Some of these traps, so you got to be careful about it.
Right.
And I said, okay, I appreciate that. He said, other than that, other ones are pretty much not really that easy to find, but they'd be like open paths or like small paths, like a deer trail, where they have even anything like like punji sticks, and stuff like that. You got to watch out for that kind of stuff. But that you're looking at, way down south, doing that stuff, not up here and everything. Right. He doesn't feel. He's never seen it up here. I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. I asked him, what's your thoughts on Bigfoot? And he said, well, I don't know. Why are you asking? And then I told him, the reason I'm asking him all these questions is because of a lot of times that there is, like X's, TPs, stuff like that out there, and what his exact thoughts of all that are. And he's like, well, I suppose Bigfoot could be up there. I do understand that. And a lot of people, he says, but I just don't know that enough about it. Right. So I started thinking, I thought, okay, I'm going to do some more research. So I talked with a few people and also looked up online about, about what these stick structures are. Now, a lot of people right away, the first thing they say it's Bigfoot, but also too, I looked up and I seen that in Santa Fe, New Mexico, they've been seeing a huge bunch of these coming up. So I decided to call down there, and I actually got to talk to someone, and I asked them, I said, what do you think of these stick structures and how they're
So how do you go, just hold on, Jerry, how do you go about, like, when you're thinking about this stuff, how do you go about, like, oh, I want to ask Santa Fe, New Mexico, so where would you go? Like, explain.
Where would you go? It's plain and simple. If people are talking about it online, why just sit there and take their word for it? Absolutely. Instead, call them directly. And find out what's going on. And they actually said the same thing. They said that in 2017 and 2018, mostly in the wintertime, thousands of those have been erected. And they said that, sometimes people will do it and they put them really close thinking it's going to help break the wind and everything. And then they put a campfire in the middle of it and they get it going. Next thing you know, everything's burning down, and everything. So they said, that's not wise to do. But there is the ones that that they're put up there and there's no tracks around. And what's really interesting about it is that they feel that animals such as bear, moose, anything big and powerful like that can't take a living tree and be able to bend it just right so that it's not snapping, but yet there's other trees going over it the same way. And this is what they're seeing down in Santa Fe. Now, up here so far in everything that I've researched here in Minnesota, I have not come across anything like that. But down there, it's different.
Yep.
But then I asked him, I said, what do you think about aliens, UFOs, doing that? And he just went, well, he said he's never seen a Bigfoot, but he has seen UFOs ever since he was a kid. And I asked him, I said, may I ask how old you are? He said, yeah. He said, I'm 62.
Okay.
And I said, okay, great. He wouldn't give me his name.
Okay.
And that's the reason is because they can be released. They will be fired if you start bringing up about Bigfoot and stuff. So I don't care what his name was. I
Right.
just want the information. But then he said, if you take a look at it, crop circles. Now, you can tell when a crop circle is not real because the corn stalks are broken to where the crop circles that are around, they're not broken. They're actually not damaged whatsoever.
Right. Yep, and I read that too. That's interesting, Jerry. You say that.
Yeah,
and they're more ignorant. More, how do you say it? They're more. It shows like they can make pictures, yeah, but these are more better. These are more much harder. I can't even say the word.
Well, they're pristine. They're perfectly laid out.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're perfectly laid out. And that's why when it comes to the trees too, and the trees being pulled down like that and not snapped, and different types of trees, could it be part of UFOs too? Right. He wants to say no, he said, but he doesn't know because nobody has seen it, Right. People say they have seen it, but have they actually seen it? I'm sorry. I know that you squatchers spend a lot of time out in the woods and stuff, but you haven't seen Bigfoot actually making one of those. But still, I'm not saying that, trying to discount it and say, no, Bigfoot didn't make them. But anyway, with these trees laid over like that and not broken, and crop circles that are being found, and crop circles, by the way, are up in the rise of them. They're starting to come back big time, and not just over in England, Ireland, places like that, but around here. And again, that they're pristine. They're in perfect alignment. And they always seem to be pointing in a numeric or a scientific type of alphabet that it's hard for all of us to understand. But I suppose somebody with an IQ way higher than mine, would know exactly what it's all about.
So when I saw that too, Jerry, I thought to myself, is this their way of communicating to their species? Is this their way of saying, okay, we've been here, this is us, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? When they're doing these specific crop circles, you know what I mean? Because we know there is a difference. Is this their way of communicating? Is this their way of showing their types, like the grays and the, whatever species is out there? Is this their way of communication? When I was, looking at these pictures, because there's some amazing pictures that shows these prestige, like very nice, very, huge. I mean, there's no way there was a farmer could have done that. No way. When I was looking at them. And they even say that there's even an energy about them, So, yeah. So it's interesting. It's interesting. So, yeah.
It is very interesting. And, it's funny is that after talking to this guy here, he was really, really cool, about it. I just wanted to say, too, that Kat was saying that trap didn't exist too long after she found it, just in case, and there's nothing else to stomp on at the moment. Cats, animals, stuff like that, they're not the intended victim, but they do get put inside of them, and it's just horrible. It's just horrible. So, I talked to the people down there in Santa Fe. And so I have a friend that works in the Chippewa State Forest. And I figured I'm going to call her and talk with her. And she wasn't there, but I did talk to this guy. And again, I didn't ask his name. I don't want to, because I know, like he said too, he could be fired for talking about certain things.
Yeah.
But he decided he was going to. So I asked him, when you're out and you see stuff like teepees and stuff like that, there's no tracks around. And he is a tracker, by the way, which is very interesting. He said he just can't understand it. He said the big thing for him, which I wished I would have talked to him first, talking to the other guy. I suppose I could have called back, but I didn't, is that they're seeing trees in certain parts of the Chippewa State Forest that are young trees that are ripped out of the ground, and then the tops of them are stuffed into the ground. And they are stuffed in extremely far in, where as much as he tries to get them out, he can't. Now, it's funny he should say that. There's only one other place that I heard that from, and that is D. McCulley up in Thunder Bay, Ontario. He's gone out in the woods and he's actually found these. Now, these are turned upside down. They're stuck in the ground, and they're usually in an X, which I asked him, what did he think about that? I mean, when I've had him on the show before, before you came on with us and stuff. Or no, maybe it was when he could. Well, anyway, he was saying he's thinking that is pretty much of a sign of do not enter.
Okay.
Which he said he's never gone in to see what would happen.
Right. And see, like some of us as Squatchers, we believe that that's their communication, like where the water's at. There's certain ways that, and that's interesting you say that, Jerry, because there are trees that are bent and shoved. The tops are shoved into the ground really into the ground. And I'm pretty sure we see that. We have one picture that shows that. And it's interesting how they're just shoved. Like you said, they're pulled out of the ground and shoved in. So a lot of people believe that this is their way of communicating, saying where there's food, that this is their territory, where there's water, places for them they're territorial as well. So, it's their way of communication as well. So
Exactly. So when I was talking to him, I said, what do you think about people, especially, when I was talking to Steph earlier, you guys know that, if there's a lot of leaves and stuff, it's hard to track.
Right.
I asked him, I said, what about like homeless people? He said some of the trees that he's seen are huge, and there's no possible way that a homeless person or a person, even a really big man, is going to take these and get them to be perfect in there so that they would form this teepee style. And I said, okay, but, I said, so do you believe in Bigfoot? He says, I do. I said, and you haven't seen Bigfoot? He said, no. Also, I asked him, what about aliens? And he said, well, it's funny you should say that, because some people think also that aliens and that the stick structures are actually alien. I said, why do you think that? He said, well, because of crop circles. Crop circles are out there. He says, I personally do not believe in crop circles. He said, I think it's a hoax. And a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But he thinks that possibly the way some of them are laid out, some of the ones that could be the log laying on the ground and then 5 feet up in the air, and small sticks put around there, could that not be a trap? But could it be, like a, how would you say it? I mean, with nowadays technology that we have, that we can pick up and sense any kind of frequencies around, especially if it's communication and stuff. And so then they would be found out. What if they're doing it as a primitive type of a GPS?
Okay.
And it's like, that's interesting, I know right away you're saying inside your head, I can see it in your eyes. It's like I could hear it in Steph's voice. No, absolutely not, But, again, there is that possibility. Now, one thing I found to be very, very interesting is he asked me, he said, how many times have they seen ones with scratches on the trees? And I said, you mean like a bear, which would be about eye level, forehead level.
Right.
You would see, scratches from bears. You would.
Yeah.
But he said on a lot of these different teepeed ones, if you take a look at the very bottom,
Hmm.
there's scratches, but they go the other way.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Huh.
so what animal's going to do that? There is no animal that's going to do that. Even if it is beaver or anything like that, they don't leave those type of marks whatsoever. And with
So
those,
he's talking like in the bottom of the tree that there's these markings that are opposite. Is
yep,
that what he's saying?
yep.
Huh. Instead of
So
like going down the tree, you mean it's going around the tree?
yeah, yeah. Well,
Huh.
it's like maybe 5 to 6 inches. You
Okay.
know.
Okay.
And when I asked him, I said, "What do you think makes that?" He said, "Well, I said, you believe in different cryptids out there." He said, "Yeah."
Hmm.
He does believe in the dog man.
Oh, good.
So
Yep.
could that happen? Possibly could happen. You know,
Hmm.
it's kind of an interesting thing. I
That
mean,
is
I
very.
I'm very interested in what you girls do. Of
Mhm.
course, Squatcher's my number one uh, Bigfoot team out there, research team. But all this stuff together. I mean, if you take a look in the paranormal, you are in the paranormal, I'm in the paranormal. Well, a couple of the Squatchers also
Yeah,
were
they're in the paranormal
paranormal.
too.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I mean, how can we know what we see, what we smell when we go into a house, going into the woods, a little bit different.
Hmm.
Um, but going to look for Bigfoot and finding these little tells, if you want to call it, on certain things that could be. I think that's just extremely interesting.
That is interesting, Jerry.
Yes,
Very good research, Jerry.
thank you very much. Um, so let's see here now. Let me look at I actually have notes. Um, okay, yeah, and that's another thing too is he feels that possibly
Hmm.
that even could Bigfoot have actually made those type of markings of more of a territory type marking. So, and also to the trees when they're in those shapes. Do you guys check to see how many's around and if it's in like a triangle type shape?
I know we noticed like if the girls will go in and check them because like you were saying the way those trees are bent, there's some trees that are bent like all together in a row, sometimes, and they're bent the same way and same direction like you're going under them. Um, and that's why I think sometimes the way you're saying that could it be alien because like I feel like alien would leave some type of energy or some type of energy even from the earth. I mean, you got to think about the forest being something living, of course. Um, but I don't think we've ever, I know we analyze a lot, and I haven't been out there, so I can't really say what the girls have been up to recently, but I do know they analyze a lot just to see, they'll count how far it is, we measure, we look at the trees, we look up, we look down, we make sure, but never, I don't think we've ever seen anything in a triangle, and they never mentioned that yet, so I'm not sure about that part. So what do you
Okay.
mean like a triangle? Like
Like a
a
triangle, like if you have um, one stick structure here, another one over here, another one over here, and they're kind of like
Oh,
in a
okay.
triangle. But
Yep.
if they're spaced out to where there are how many footsteps to the other one,
Hmm.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that we've noticed that there's a few of them. I've noticed that we've seen three that may be looking the same way, and it's very odd or different. So yeah, so that I know we've seen.
Right. Well, it also too, I remember a while back, you guys were actually using paint on some and then building your own stick structures
Yep, the
to
girls were
see
doing
if it
that.
happened. Yeah. When I was talking to him, he mentioned, without me even saying anything to him,
Hmm.
he said that one thing they still have not done. Oh, Steph's saying we haven't found stick structures with the same amount of footsteps between each. Oh, okay. He said that Or was it again? Oh, that making your own or taking certain things off there or replacing it or moving it around actually could be dangerous to do, because this is a communication from another life form.
Yep.
So it could mean something totally different.
Right.
Also too, if it is giving off anything, whatsoever, because you never know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the paranormal that we find, certain stones and stuff like that, that give off a certain something.
So that's something I do know a story like down south that they said that, not in Minnesota, but down south, further down, like maybe California, I want to say, or Oregon, a native man did say that he picked up something like a rock because there was some formation or some sticks or something, because he thought it was odd. And so he thought, because it kept doing it and doing it wherever he was hunting or wherever he was going. So he went and he grabbed some logs or something. And he says he was terrified like the next day, because he believes that this Bigfoot or whatever it was, the cryptid of some sort, came to his home and destructed the trees around it, tore him up and stuff to freak him out, because I think they were ticked off that he did that he took something that they formed and, he took it and he went and put it back. So they would stop and to leave him alone, because another native man told him, you better go take that back. You better go put it back where you got that from. So, yeah, there is a story about that.
Right. Well, it's funny that, it's saying that you put it back. That's just like in the paranormal, especially being Native American paranormal is the strongest of all the paranormal activity out there. A lot of people think it's cool when they find a place such as a mound or something like that, and they dig to find, arrowheads, knives, stuff like that. And the thing is, it's not yours. You're not supposed to take that. You're supposed to leave it. You will make the spirits angry. And who's to say that if you're going through a real bad time in your life, that it isn't because of that?
Right.
I mean, when spirits die, a lot of them don't go off right away. Like some people believe a person dies and boom, they're in heaven or hell, whatever, But sometimes when a person dies, that they may have an addiction or something to where they find someone that's pretty much got something like them, so they attach to them. And attachments are not a very cool thing. I mean, they can affect you big time in your life. In all the smoke readings that I've done on people and stuff, I've only found an attachment one time. One time out of all the readings. And it was very interesting. Very interesting on how a person, something like that, can attach. But when it comes to being out in the woods, let's don't get off subject. Well, actually, we're going to get off subject for 2 minutes because it's time for a break. So we'll be right back, everybody, in 2 minutes.
You are listening to Para X.
Demons, vampires, werewolves, skinwalkers, all of this and more, Sunday nights at midnight on the Staring Into the Abyss radio show. Come, get lost with us.
Those geek ladies Sean and Victoria from Exploring the Paranormal with Geeks Paranormal are at it again with another amazing season full of paranormal celebrity interviews with amazing guests and stories of haunted locations and so much more. You will hear it first on Para X. Tune in Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central. You will not be disappointed.
You've no doubt heard of Tango and Cash, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Perhaps it takes two to tango. Well, now, on the first and third Thursdays of each month, there's a show called Tango and Friends at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Para X Radio Network with your host, Bruce Tango. And yes, there will be at least two to tango on each episode, sometimes even more. There's going to be lots of topics and lots of guests you'll all know and lots of surprises. Tango and Friends every first and third Thursday of the month at 8 p.m. right here on the Para X Radio Network.
And we are back. This is Jerry with the calling, along with Kimberly Juarez. And if you have been listening to our program and yet you didn't catch the first half, not to mention any names, Steve Breaker, you can actually go to our website tomorrow and listen for the first half by going to www.thecallingradioshow.com, or you can even go to our YouTube channel, which is The Calling Radio Show on YouTube. That easy. And also, too, there is tons of excellent entertainment on Para X, seriously. So just hang out, start listening to all the other shows like The Gathering on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for an hour till 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Stephanie and Heidi, they do the metaphysical type approach, and they're really good at what they do. Also, there's the He Said, She Said Cryptid show, and that is on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And after this show, there is Geeks Paranormal. These ladies are awesome. Love them, all of them. Well, no, there's two so far. I think there's three on that show. Is there three on their show, Kimberly?
I think there is three. I think there is three now. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, I know two for sure. Two that are trouble. One's probably got to be an innocent one.
Maybe it's just a guess. I don't know, but I thought there was three.
But anyway, it's a lot of fun and everything. And so now, when we've been talking about stick structures, Bigfoot, aliens, all that fun stuff. When I did ask this forestry guy about, things that, about the UFO or the Bigfoot or even Dogman, he was very excited to start talking about other cryptids that are up there. He started telling me, now I didn't ask the guy in Santa Fe, but I did ask, well, the guy up in Chippewa State Forest did tell me about the rock structures. Have you guys seen rock structures out there?
I'm trying to think. Well, you know what? We saw it was probably a little bit, I don't know how big these rock structures are or what maybe he's referring. Maybe these were done by human, but I know we've seen something similar, but nothing real big. So is he talking like huge structures that like?
They're like anywhere from, like a foot to up to 2 or 3 feet high.
Oh, so then we did see some type of rock structure, but it was about 5 feet. And it wasn't too far from one of our researchers, Gina. It wasn't too far from her place, and we saw there was another structure, a huge structure, and the girls went towards it. And on the left-hand side, I remember there was a rock structure which was a little bit taller than I was. So I'm 5'2". So yeah, we probably have seen something. So we're not too sure though still. So I don't know, Steph. I don't know if Steph, is she still on here?
Yep, she's on.
She probably would know if they've seen anything recently. So yeah.
Gotcha. Because when I asked him about it, I said, "Well, is it usually on a trail or something like that, or on a?" She said we have not, or anything that's on like a lumber road or something like that. And he said, no, these are usually off in the lake or
Oh,
in a river
okay.
where it would be extremely tough for people to get to. See, being with the Forestry Service, sometimes they actually have to go and walk the whole way
Mhm.
around some of these places,
Right.
especially if they're looking for something, looking for tracks. Because, like I said, he's a tracker, and he was telling me that in rivers that they're placed like half underwater, so
Wow.
you can see them. And he said
Okay.
the funny thing is, especially after it has rained and you got something like that going and it's not falling over.
Huh.
So it's got that center of gravity
So
that
I
he
wonder if
feels.
they're really large, Jerry? Is that what he's
Some
saying
of them
too?
are very large. Some of them, he said, were, oh gosh, like I said, maybe 2, 3 feet high
Mhm.
that he has
Mhm.
seen. And that the
I'll have to look
ones
for
that,
that.
yeah, because this is really interesting. You're going to have to be in a place, though, I suppose, that
For one.
there's not much. Now, it was interesting is that he was telling me one of the best places to take a look. No, I'm not going to say it on the air. I will tell you and the Squatchers later on where to where you can find
Well, it
some
has
of
to be
these
in the
structures.
Chippewa Forest somewhere, and it's pretty
Oh yeah,
big.
it's going to
Chippewa
be easy
Forest
to
is
find that.
huge,
It's
huge,
gigantic,
huge.
yeah. But I know the lake that he's talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's really it's really interesting, and it's really cool. Is that I asked him. I said, "Do you feel anything coming off it?" He's like, "I guess I never even thought about that."
Okay.
I said, "Well, dude, $59.90. Buy yourself a K2 meter, stick it in your back pocket, and then when you
Yes,
find one, use it."
absolutely.
And then I
Mhm.
had to explain to him what a K2 meter is, and he said, well, you're talking ghosts now. Can ghosts even be on the land? I said, yeah, because, where do you think the Native Americans, did with their people? They
Right.
buried them. They're everywhere,
Yep.
you
That's
know?
the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
And he said he does have a couple of Native people that he does work with. And he said one is actually better working with a couple people to go out in the woods than by himself
Okay.
because
Okay.
he's actually afraid of them, afraid of the woods. Now, wouldn't
Well,
that suck? You're working for. I would love to work for the Forestry Service myself.
yes. Yeah.
If my legs were better, where I could actually walk, it would be perfect.
Right.
You don't have anybody yelling, screaming, hollering at you and stuff. It'd be perfect. Um, no deadlines, you know.
Right.
But I thought it was really interesting, and he said he is going to try to get one of those, and next time he runs into one, he'll let me know if anything
Kind of
comes up.
energy because because that the energy comes off of that. If there's anything there, then there's got to be some type of energy. And there's
Yeah.
so much cryptid up there, Jerry. It's not even funny. We've heard about the Birdman. We've heard the Wendigo, of course. What is the other one? Of course, Bigfoot. And then they say there's Bigfoot families out there as well, that people have seen this. So, it's just things that we hear from all over the place, Chippewa Forest, all up north. Um,
Well,
that would,
hopefully,
go ahead.
hopefully, soon it won't be nothing that you have to hear about. It's going to be
Right?
something that you see,
Right?
and then you're going to say, I mean, you can only take my word for it when I said I seen Bigfoot.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
but I mean, when you see him, it's going to be you're going to be like, what? Finding
Yeah, we're
Bigfoot?
gonna.
They always showed these big muscular things. They're not big, and they're
And
big.
it's going to be a hard
You
hit
know?
too, Jerry, because not everybody is going to believe you, whether you show a picture of him or not. You know what I mean? It's just
Exactly.
it's a hit and run. I guess it's just the satisfaction of us girls being out there and saying this is what we saw or this is what we experienced, and
Right.
it's fun and it's beautiful out there. So we enjoy it.
Right. And
So
what's
yeah.
one thing you're not going to do?
What? What do you mean
Is
not going to do? Go by
really?
ourselves?
No, you're not going to tell anybody where you seen it.
Oh, of course. No, we can't tell people where we see them.
Oh,
Absolutely
very good,
not.
very good. So let's see now. So we covered everything, I do believe. We covered it too quickly. We
I
still
think,
got
well, you were
20 minutes
talking
left.
too about the ancient, like the aliens of communication. Now, there's 7 types of ancient aliens, like Easter Island. Like people say, okay, who could have made Easter Island? So we're talking aliens, guys. Who could have done that? People think it was aliens who've done it
Right.
back in hundreds and hundreds of years. So there's Easter Island is one of them. There's 7 of them. Easter Island, of course, the pyramids in Egypt is another
Well, hold
one.
on. Let's go back to Easter Island.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't that long ago when they found out that they had full bodies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
It wasn't too long ago.
That's
Wait, hold on.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Wow. Okay.
But I'm trying
know,
to find it.
What's that?
Trying to find my little notes here. So yeah, I think it's interesting, Jerry, because and people say that there are people that go up there and they'll do meditation up there and praying up there, and they say that their bodies have been healed, and it's more than just people, or more than just nature that could, like, those stones are so huge. They're huge. Who could have put them there?
Right.
Who could have done that?
Right. And if I'm correct, each one of them is the exact same size. Am I right on
Yep.
that?
Well,
Okay.
somewhat, but I mean, some are much bigger than the others, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
The structures, and then the way that they're formed all the way around. So, I mean, now I lost my notes. Good Lord. So, and then the pyramids, of course. And there's other places like those, God, what are they called? They're like, just like can't even find my words. I'm so lost. I'm sorry, guys.
You've been drinking before the show, haven't you?
Yeah, coffee.
Oh, that'll do it.
Well, they feel that it's all Egypt pyramids, the Nazca lines, and they're followed by extraterrestrial. I can't even say anything right now, too. I have been drinking, Jerry. No. But yeah, I think it's just interesting, really interesting about how they believe that these are, again, structures that are probably alien-wise. So,
right.
yeah.
Right. Now, Steve was saying maybe time travelers from Earth mistaken for aliens. That's another thing, too, is that there's so much out there on all this. It's unbelievable.
Well, yeah, that's like when human that have lived before, back in cave time or whatnot, and different species. And then they were saying how big humans were, theatricals, or what do you call them? How do you say that? But I mean, the giant people, they even have it in the Bible about these huge people, which again, that's why everybody talks about the Bigfoot and everything too, that these humans were huge, huge people, and back in before Christ, so.
Yeah, there it is. It's the, what is it? Nephalon?
There you go, Jerry.
Okay. The writer just put it up there. Don't think that I
writer.
came up with that name. Oh my God, my couch is so uncomfortable. Okay, there we go. Oh, Nephilim,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, with everything that we found here, what is something that you guys out there, what do you guys believe in? Do you guys believe in the stick structures? Do you believe in the rock structures? Do you believe that there is such thing as not just Bigfoot, but different type of cryptids that are still out there?
Right.
I'd like to hear from any of you guys if just wanted to write a little something in the chat room here so that we can.
What do you believe, Jerry? Do you believe in the like how they're saying these 7 structures? What are these huge structures? Do you think they're alien? This is what
I don't know.
And this is some scientific fact that they don't understand. So science are even saying, how is this possible? So even scientifically, it says that, like Easter Island, of course, they're huge. They're huge stones,
Right. I
rocks
believe.
that are.
Right. Paranormal writer. I think stick structures are Bigfoot's Bigfoot way of modeling, representing star constellations, known and unknown. Karen, I think we are living in a multi-dimensional universe. True.
Yep.
Paranormal writer, kind of a star map. I agree with all that, on there. There's just so much out there. And, it's mind-boggling, especially when you talk to somebody who has such a closed mind where they don't believe in any of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yet
Right.
they want to know, is my house haunted? It's like, seriously? See, you don't believe in none of this stuff, but yet, is my house haunted?
Well, people are really closed-minded because, some of us aren't raised to be open-minded. Some of us were very strict homes and whatnot, and some, and that's what makes the world go around, to be truthful. I mean, you got to have that, the yay
True.
and the nay, I'm just glad that now scientifically they're starting to realize certain things now, that the earth does give an energy, that the stars and the moon and the night, there's an energy. They're finally realizing, that we need this energy now, and that there could be some type of other dimensions now. Before it used to be nope. They cut you off immediately about that, scientifically wise. So yeah.
Yep. Let's see, Steve B. I believe in other dimensions and beings that can travel between them can cause a lot of paranormal happenings. Could possibly be. There's so many different types of things going on. It's hard to say to connect them all together, just one, but it's pretty interesting, all the stuff that's out there. The only thing that I really have a problem with is the Wendigo.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I know that Lauren Coleman already said that Bigfoot is also known as the Wendigo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Lauren, I love you, buddy. But when it comes to the Wendigo, to me and to a lot of others, it's a spirit.
Okay.
And that spirit then can go into a person and make them do things, like the guy in 19...
like the skinwalkers down south. They have those same things.
I think they might be the same things.
Yeah,
possibly.
exactly.
Just known in different places. I mean, look, you go into a bar here and you order yourself a Colorado Bulldog, and you go to Washington State and you ask for the same thing, and they're like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
And then you tell them what's in it, and they're like,
"Oh, that's a blah blah blah." Yeah,
that's a Smith and Wesson. Yeah,
yeah.
So
exactly.
It's like the same thing, only not different. Just the name has changed.
And some people believe it's just a dog that's matted, that has that mange, and it's it's got rabies, and it's just overgrown and super skinny, and that's what they're seeing. People are seeing that. I don't believe that. I really don't. Some have had very interesting encounters, so yeah.
Right.
So
and plus also too, it's supposed to have Wendigos, according to native lore, is that it also has horns, so it's a combination of all sorts of different animals and stuff. I don't know. I think it's just, I mean, I know that I have seen a tape once of a possible Wendigo going into someone, and that's what was told to me by the Native Americans that actually let me see the tape, and that was the tape of I don't remember his full name, Jeffrey, at the Red Lake school shooting when he shot all those people up. And one of the last things was you see something come out of the wall, go into him, and then he turned the shotgun on himself.
Wow.
And then when he dropped, it came out, went back in the wall. And they claimed that that was a Wendigo that did it.
Wow. Wow.
You know?
That's interesting, Jerry.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. Well, it was really disturbing to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those things, you see it, and you wish you'd never seen it again.
Right.
You know, type of thing. So
that's interesting. Super
Yeah.
interesting, Jerry. Yeah.
yeah.
I just think there's so much out there, way too much out there, and we just need to keep exploring and taking pictures and getting video, you know, because anything that I love watching stuff like that. I'm like one of those ones that are obsessed about watching video, love stuff like that, you know. So yeah, just keep going out there and taking pictures and showing people what you see and what you catch, whether they believe you or not. Who cares? You know?
Right. Well, see, that's one thing I guess I don't, you know, so many people are like, well, this one girl that we helped her with her house down in Hayfield. I mean, she's a good kid, and but she believes in all these videos on YouTube as being gospel. I mean, no, I seen it, Jerry. I watched them bring the camera in there. There was nothing in there. Then all of a sudden, things went on. It's like, okay.
Some of the ghost ones I don't care for. Some of these ghost ones
they're just stupid.
They're fake. You could tell they're fake. Some of the ones that are like, not if I were sharing with another paranormal investigator. I'm talking about like the YouTube ones and the whole fake ones. I mean, there's a lot that, and then there's the camera where it moves so much and you're just like, oh God, you know.
Oh, you get sick. You get a migraine.
Yeah, I do too. All I got was, I didn't get scared because all I got was a headache from watching your video, you know?
Exactly. Your paranormal writer says, I plan to spend the day riding my motorcycle up and down Bray Road at least one time this summer, looking for the Beast of Bray Road, a.k.a. Dogman there. I've heard about that. You know, it's very interesting.
I kind of want to do that. That's one of my little, I just want to go and just say I was on that road. And I'll wait at night just to see if anything comes out.
Right. And then, so Steve's asking, so Wendigos are evil? Yes.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
They're supposed to be extremely lethal. Paranormal writer, I'd mount a GoPro just in case anything happens, makes an appearance, definitely.
Yeah. Got to let us know what happens.
What is Kat saying? I think I'd want to be inside a vehicle with more doors all around in case of Dogman. But, you know, that's funny. They run alongside vehicles at a decent clip. I don't know. It's, you know, I mean, that guy in, where is it? That deputy sheriff. And I always talk about him all the time, which I'd like to get him on the show. I might kind of fight for it this time. In La Crosse.
Okay.
Or no, what is it? Oh, shoot. Anyway, he's seen it, and he was amazed by it.
Is it on the other side of Wisconsin? Because that's apparently where they've seen it.
No, stop. Okay. Let me think here for a second. No, it's not La Crosse. It's actually in Minnesota. It's at the border.
Okay.
It's where they have the cliff and they go jumping off the cliff into the water. People do.
I don't know where that's at.
It's not near Bemidji. Stories from Minnesota. They run alongside cars. Yep, I've heard that. Yep. But I don't. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name of that city. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot today. Steph says you guys had a eyewitness who said this happened. That's crazy.
Yep.
Interesting. So let's see now. All right. So yeah, I covered all this on there. Kim, what do you got?
There was a couple of them. Steph. I'm just saying. I'm just agreeing to what Steph's saying. So yes, we have heard a couple stories.
Gotcha. Yep, maybe you will. Maybe you guys might be the first ones to have real video and everything.
Yep.
Heard some Navajo Rangers speak on the Wendigo. They don't sound like they're far from evil. They are evil. 1925, guy named Jack something killed his family, or the Wendigo came into him, and he went home, killed his family, and they found him eating the bodies. And they claimed that it was a Wendigo. He took off running. They didn't find him for months. Then they finally did. So, interesting. Who we having on next week? Next week is... let's find out here. We'll find out together, Steve. How's that? I was on a radio show just not too long ago. Last week it was. And her name is... Oh, here it is. Latrina Terry Brown. She is a psychic, and she has her own radio show also. It's bringing up everything right here. And everything's running really slow. Gosh darn. Well, I'll put the flyer out as soon as she gives me her bio and everything. And you guys will know exactly who she is, what she does and stuff. But, yeah, so it's going to be rather interesting. So this is pretty cool. Okay. Well, we're getting 1 minute left. Kim, anything you need to add?
Nothing.
Nothing at all, Kim, for 1 minute? Is Kat, you've been...
Go ahead.
Oh, Kat, has Kat been doing anything, or?
Oh, no, not recent. We're supposed to, I'm just doing a reveal for the last place we're going to be at. And you, Jerry, did you guys do a good job over at where you guys went?
Yes, we did, as a matter of fact. It was weird because I was with a couple of alumni of SIM, and I tell you, it's way different feeling than being with the team now. Okay. And hopefully things will, will continue going good. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Para X. Sarge, you're the best. And for any troops out there, we appreciate you listening in. Everybody have yourself a great night, and we'll see you all next week.